everybody, it's Cinnamon Cooney, your Art Sherpa, and today we're going to be painting this gorgeous portrait of a serene girl with like bokeh hair, kind of turned to the side. She's a little bit expressive, she's a little bit abstracted. She's hopefully a two-hooter. On the mic is my husband, John.
Hello.
He is going to help me bring this lesson step by step to you, where you can see every color mix, every technique, everything that we do. And how you know it's live is my phone. Was turning it down and then I let go and then it went. So you know it's live, or at least if you're here right now on a Tuesday at 1 p.m., you're watching with us live. And I really want to thank you for taking time out of your day to share your time with us. I don't know. It's just exciting. It's kind of a crazy day, as we all know, but we're not gonna worry about that right now. We're gonna kick that to the curb. We're gonna just take all of our worries and kick them far, far away from our studio, so we can just paint for a second. Things to know about the video. There is a traceable. I'm going to show you how to draw her, but I don't expect you to know how to do that. So there is a traceable you can download for free from the website. 7 to 14 days after a video, we try to release what's called a mini book. It's like a 30-page little written out small book of instructions that match the steps in the videos you're going to see. And we're going to timestamp those steps so you can find your place again.
Yep.
If you're like, I love you, but I have to paint this in stages, you're going to be able to get back to where you were really, really easily and not feel so lost. All right. Shall we go down over the materials that we're using for today's course?
Sure.
Okay. All right, now I have here an 8x8 surface, and you see that I have put a wish or intention on here for you that you don't have to have on your own canvas to start. This is just something I do for you. And my wish is that you and the people in your life are able to see clearly. I think that's a very important thing. It's really easy for us to get lost in our own emotions and everything. And so being able to see clearly is a great gift that we can give each other. I am going to be painting with Cad Yellow Medium today, Cad Red Medium, Quinacridone Magenta, Dioxazine Purple, Phthalo Green, Ultramarine Blue, and then right next to it, looking exactly the same but being totally different, is Phthalo Blue, Mars Black, Bird Sienna, Yellow Ochre, and sitting in the center is my Titanium White. Should we throw up step 1, which is going to be our easiest step today? Step 1 is going to be fun, I promise. Now, before we begin, let's take a deep breath. Let's put down any worries that we have. The world will be here after the class, and we're going to be okay. That's what we're going to do. And we get to have and deserve to have this time to paint. I am going to grab a 3/4 inch Catalyst angle brush by Princeton. You don't have to have this brush. We're just painting the whole canvas. A mixture of Mars Black and Burnt Sienna. So any brush you want to use for that is perfectly fine. I'm just basically creating a very dark chocolatey brown over the whole canvas. And you can see my earlier painting. I'm just pushing it away.
So is it super important to get this just opaquely covered?
No, we just want to layer. What we're doing is creating a toned canvas. We're starting with a canvas that it's chocolatey brown, but it can be streaky. It doesn't have to be perfect in its painting. You can make it perfect. If you're a person who enjoys things being perfect, go ahead and lean into that. That's okay. Nothing wrong with that. I'm going to put out a little more brown paint because I can see I'm going to go through quite a lot of it. Donna Turner is here today and says, hi, y'all. So happy to watch a full live. Happy painting. It is nice to be here today. To be able to be here today. I'm very grateful. I am streaming from my mom's house.
We are.
The dining room.
Coming to you from the dining room of in-laws everywhere.
So they're being so sweet, and I think tiptoeing around, I think they're getting out to run some errands today. Because my mom finished her painting work last night. However, if you heard about the Q&A that's going to be on my mom's channel, Ginger Cook Live, on Monday night, and you had a question that you might want us to answer, submit those to my mom's website, Ginger Cook Live, so they can be considered for the show. John Little is the one who picks them out, and if my moderators can make sure that everybody finds those resources, that would be great. Yeah, we're going to be doing another one of our Q&As. where people just ask us stuff and then we just talk about it, which is actually kind of fun. Just still painting the canvas black. Look at us. We're just painting the canvas brown and black. You can see it's all right that my painting here is sort of even showing through. This is kind of a hint on if you have a canvas you want to paint over, do you have to gesso? Right? You could just paint on the ground over the top of a surface. You don't have to gesso. You can gesso if you like the texture and tooth of gesso, or you're trying to change the surface of your canvas. Jennifer is hoping the hurricane skips everybody. I agree too. I think we're going to need to be a little more hurricane safe. Just as years go forward, we're going to have to get better at our hurricane safety. But I hope as many of them miss as can possibly miss. All right, so look what we have here. We have a chocolate brown canvas. This is a very good beginning. I know portraits are a little bit intimidating. And again, if you use the traceable, that will make this lesson a lot easier. If you wait for the mini book, it will make it a lot easier. But if you're ready to paint along today, I think you're going to have a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
Falling off the canvas.
Dry it over there?
Over.
Yeah.
Falling over. All right, let's go.
So she's going to dry that surface real quick, and then we'll move on to the next step. And if you need, though, any of that stuff, you can find it on our website. And don't forget to join us in the live, because there's lots of live chatting happening. And that's like some of the best fun, is to meet the other painter people who are journeying along with you and say, hello, painter people. Or watching paint dry people like me. I'm not a painter, but I do like watching paint dry. I would say if there was a professional group who watched paint dry, I would be a part of that professional group.
You are a professional paint dryer.
I'm a professional
watcher
coffee
of paint or our tea or whatever comforting beverage that we have.
Like if there was like going to be a National Geographic to watch paint dry, I could be the person who could do that. Like we could go all around the world and watch different paints dry.
Oh, is there a link for the traceable? The traceable's in the traceables module on the website, as well as on the video page. I'm sure one of the moderators will grab that link for the traceable, because it is definitely up. I made sure. Irene wants to know, did Mom and I enjoy Under the Queen's Umbrella? Well, let's tell you how much. John Little came down and was like, Ginger, are you still up? You need to go to bed. So yeah, we have one to catch up completely. I've watched up through, but it was like, Mom, you got to see this. And then we just started marathoning through together. And she is really liking it. She agrees. It's kind of amazing. It's really interesting, the shows that we both like. Because we have very different taste in shows. And then here we have a show that we both like. So that's sort of exciting. I'm going to grab a small brush. You guys can use your chalk tool here, and the only reason I'm not is I'm afraid it will be too light for you at home to see well. So if you have your chalk tool, do you think?
Yeah.
Okay. Then
I just saw the mark you made.
Okay, then we're good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of sketch in the basis of the face. And if you think about this, the head, we got to leave a little bit of room, right? We're going to focus her more on the right side. We are leaving room at the top for all this wonderful hair. I'm going to come down and let's first just kind of scale an oval. We won't worry too much about shape right now. What we want to do is get the scale of her. And what's nice about chalk is you can see I can come in and finger adjust.
Yeah, you just erase it a little bit and then...
So what I'm doing is I'm saying, how much room do I want the face to take up on the surface? And then I'm going to come down and bring a neck down and a little bit of chest forward. Bring a shoulder up and over. And let's actually now sort of put in the face. So on this side, we're going to come down. And I don't know if you've ever had a face divided before. Just in case you've never seen the divisions of a face, I'm going to divide my oval in half. I'm going to divide my oval in like right here, kind of in half again. and then in half again. And that's going to help me get the segments of my face. You can do another one if you want to do the mouth, but we're being kind of stylized, so I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to come down on this side, and at this line, I'm going to divot in, out, and get my chin there. See how I got the chin line in? Then I'm going to bring this over strongly. And that is how you get that face. Now I'm going to move this line over a bit. And that's going to help me get the 3/4 face. See how I did? So if you're bad at face measurements, that's a way to get around that. That's sort of a workaround. If you have trouble with a 3/4 face, if you set the oval first, get your divisions, and then work the side cheek, move your center line over towards that third of the face, then you'll have an easier time seeing where this is. Now, one of the things to know, top of the ear, right, is always at that eye line, because that's where our glasses sit, if you think about it. So, was a really good idea somebody said to me. And we'll do all the little features, like we've got a nose right here and everything. We'll do these features in a minute. Right now, what we're saying is, what do I not have to paint? I'm going to kind of let myself know where her loose little hair is. And this lets me have an idea of where I'm going to focus facial features and where I'm going to focus background. That's all that is it's guidance. If you're using the traceable, go ahead and transfer that on the canvas. Now you can transfer all the lines in at this stage. That's totally fine. How is everybody doing? I'm so excited.
This is super nice. I like this.
I do too.
I'm really glad you were able to do the chalk.
I was glad I was able to do the chalk. Shall we do the next step?
If you were ready to step ahead.
I am ready to step ahead. Step 3, just for me. All right.
And that was the Dritz chalk tool, right?
That's the Dritz one. This is actually at Joann's. Don't pay more than like $13 for this, though. I've noticed that there's so much price gouging out there. I can't wait till our website is up, because we can start pushing against that as we get more and more products on board, because I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah, we're
just not going to do it. It's really crazy, but that's about what it is. And that's on Amazon. If you see a crazier price than that, think about running into Joann's. Maybe you can see it as much as 15, but it really should
for
be
a really
right
nice one for sure. But I mean, like the nice name brand ones that are made of good plastic and are going to last a billion years, like the Dritz one, yeah, they could be $10 to $15.
Yeah, but they shouldn't be pricey. I'm going to take a little yellow ochre and cad yellow together. They're kind of a wonderful mix. I'm going to even get a little white on it. I'm going to use a number 18 Raphael brush. I'm going to come up here and start to loosely, and that means, notice I will swing up and then down and kind of do little commas. That's how I'm getting my very blendy effect here. We might even test some of our D brushes today.
You're going to test the brush?
I'm tempted to. The only thing is that they're available in Europe for sale, but they haven't hit the States yet. They'll be in our store. My mom started testing them.
They're on the water.
She's loving them. She is loving them. I got some from my friend Andrew, and he was like, you can give some to your mom if you want. So I did, and she tested them. She's loving them. Loving them.
She was like, when can I get a box of these?
Yeah, I'm going to definitely have to make sure that there's a box of those in my mom's life. See how we're just loosely brushing out? Now this brush is made of hog bristles, and the nice thing about hog bristles is that they give you a very kind of brushy, dry, brushy effect. That's really lovely because they're stiff. Now as I go forward, all right, I might, oh no.
What's that?
I lost my picture-in-picture.
Oh,
it's bad.
You lost your reference? Yep. Let me see what I can do for you.
I'll have to use the one. Oh, this is...
You know what I can probably do? I can. If you give me a moment, I can fix this.
Can you?
I
I'm gonna
totally
have to.
can.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to have to go away from the chat entirely so that I have my reference. Because even though I designed it and it's mine, I still need it to know what I did. Because you can't remember that stuff just perfectly from memory. Okay, just give me a second and I will be right back at it. I luckily grabbed something just in case I was going to have a hard time. I come down here. Now notice that I've just gotten into the black and brown again. And I'll just pop this off for about 10 minutes and then it'll come back for me. See, whenever we're painting, challenges are not unheard of. We all can face challenges in our painting, can't we? But look at me go. I'm not worried about it. Oh, dude, just right there. John used some technology that we used to use called a printer. So this was originally a digital painting. I'm using burnt sienna and Mars Black right now. And I try to use programs that are very similar in the way the digital brushes are to real brushes, so that I have a very good one-to-one aspect. I'm by no means an expert with digital painting at all. I use Sketchbook and Fresco from Adobe. And as I'm often pointed out by my kids, those are not the best, but they are good, I think.
You know, it's.
Let's go back into our mix of yellow ochre and cad yellow and see. We'll go wet into wet here. See how that creates a soft blend?
Yeah.
That's sort of the trick, right?
It's not the.
And I might go right into my kind of black around here, just initially around her head, which is going to be the hair. I'm going around. More black. It's not what, babe?
It's not the instrument, it's the artist.
It's not the instrument, it's the artist. Well, I think all mediums are art. I truly strongly feel that.
Yeah.
And I think digital artists are absolutely fine artists.
Yeah,
in my mind.
Oh yeah,
definitely.
No, absolutely. And you know, it's
the brush is the brush is the brush is the brush.
Yeah.
So I'm just coming around here and you can see I'm getting that initial sort of soft blending in. I don't actually need to worry about her ear. I was just showing you guys where that would be if you were doing that. And you can see I'm just getting that there. And then if I want to come here and while this is wet, kind of soft edge blend that. See how we can do? That's about this being wet and then paint I'm putting into it being wet. And that's how you kind of create a blend, even if your paint is drying on you pretty quickly. This is how you get that first blend. Can seem overwhelming at first, but honestly, it's not a complex skill. This isn't a talent skill. This is just a muscle skill. It's just training your muscles and your mind to work together to do this in fairly short order before the paint dries. That's all it is. All right, I'm going to go back to my chat, John. We can call this a step.
You can.
Yeah, we can call this a step. And I'm going to go back to my chat and have a sip of coffee. So see how we just remained calm? What do you call the chalk tool that you're using? That is the Dritz Taylor's chalk tool. There is some off-brand ones of them. I don't know if the chalk in them is wax-free. I know the Dritz one is wax-free. It's just chalk. So that it washes out of the clothes. And I verified that with the company. But the other ones maybe as well. I just verified this one. They don't pay me any money. I just made sure before I recommended it to y'all.
Right.
How are you doing, babe?
Good. We're all stepped up.
Okay, let's keep going. Let's keep going. Another layer, shall we? Now, I'm going to take my red. I'm going to come over here into my burnt sienna. Very dramatic. And I'm going to mix this down into my cad yellow space. And kind of come around. Again, same brush, number 18 Artini brush, cad red into my burnt sienna. We're just kind of putting some wonderful colors here. It's not red. It's cad red into the burnt sienna, which against these colors will feel, to be frank, kind of bright. And I can even take some black and brown and mix into this. creating that depth down here, but still having those sort of interesting pops of color. And go right into my cad yellow and yellow ochre. See how we're just creating those soft blends. That's how we're going to get that. Powerful stuff. I might come right here into my black, and I'm going to kind of work this upper corner. A little back into my cad yellow and yellow ochre. My pressure is very light. My brush is dancing. Look at me taking this black around here, just kind of blendy, blendy, blend. It's wonderful, isn't it? I really love this. I just feel like this is autumn dreaming.
Yep.
Felt like we needed something super calm today. All of us could just use something very calm to paint. Okay, let's get to here. We're going to rinse this brush out, and we are going to dry this canvas thoroughly. John, while I'm drying, will you microwave my coffee?
No, but I'll do it right as soon as you get back.
Okay.
Because I have to operate and talk.
I need like a holster to hold my hairdryer.
You do. I will work. I think I may have a magnetic one we can have. But see, if I went and microwaved her right now, you guys would be just like, it would be nobody. There would be no one here to ramble on without a point to entertain you while she's doing this, I guess. But you know, it's something to do while we watch paint dry. At least I can remind you about stuff like that subscribe button that's hidden in the description down below. And the like button. You may as well hit that while you're coming by. There's a bell thing. That works too. All those little human things are awesome. Leave a comment. Okay, so I'm going to make a step because you're on a next step. And then I'll warm your coffee up while you get to work.
Okay, excellent. Liz Wilhite asks, if you have an art journal, can you recommend a brand? I'll recommend anything that has Fabriano paint in it above 110 pounds. On the paper. So, Fabriano paper. Sorry. So Fabriano is a 700-year-old paper company, so they're pretty good at paper at this point. And you can find them in art journals. And what makes an art journal very nice is the weight of the paper. I like a heavier paper because it's resilient to many things in media, and working it and reworking it, it'll, can take ink, it can take paint, it can take pencil. You want a nice tooth on it. I think a bright white is a particularly good finish. And I just feel like 110 or higher, like 140, most of them are 90, and that may be where you're at. That means you may be just stuck having available. But if you have an art store and they give you that choice, I would definitely take advantage of that choice if you could. That's my art journal advice. Now, I don't do a lot of art journaling. So the other person I would highly recommend you ask is Tamara Laporte, who does willowing. And then also I would give Lindsay the Frugal Crafter an ask, because she tests so many products, like so many. So those are two other good resources in the world of art journaling and multimedia.
She is both frugal and a crafter, so has two good reference points to begin with.
Mama too does all the stuff. She's pretty fantastic. Okay. Now we're going to get into some more.
Continue that.
We're going to here a little bit. I'm going to switch down into a number 8 Raphael Artini round. I really like this. Oh, or should I try the D brush? You guys use this. I'm going to try one of the Ds. So this is a brand new brush that's maybe going to come into the US really soon. And it's the shape of the letter D, which is why it's called a D brush. As you can see, it's same company, so it's the same hog bristles. It's just a brand new shape. And I have them in 2 sizes, and I said I would test them and let them know what I thought. Aren't these gorgeous? So I'm going to test it. I'm going to use a smaller one so I have a little bit of control. And then if I love it, I'll move up to a bigger one. You just use the 8 that I showed you though. If you're in the UK or overseas, you should be able to get these. They're just not here yet. I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of my ultramarine blue and my phthalo blue.
Both those blues.
Titanium white. Yeah, both these blues. And I haven't used this brush before, but I have a feeling it's like a deerfoot stippler.
Oh. Well, that's fun to say, but I've never seen one.
Because it's got an edge on it, right? But then it's got a fluffy side. So I'm going to come here and just use this to get these interesting little bits. Ultramarine blue, phthalo blue. If you only have one blue, guess what? It's fine. Not really a deep problem. So sometimes I get sent brushes to test and get my opinions asked, and I gotta figure out what I think. Wait, the problem with this is that I'm thinking. Like, what do I think?
What do you think? As you're thinking, what are you thinking?
I think it has a very nice scratch to it.
Interesting. It's very scratchy.
What I'm watching for is to see how the hog. I have them in synthetic and I have them in the hog, and I'm just wondering how much the hog will blow out or lose shape. I'm going to go ahead and get some black right on my brush, though. Again, you would be using this at home. The number 8 Artini brush. I'm just using this, so don't panic. Oh, it does the same nice little strokey strokes. This is an interesting alternative.
It is.
Here's another nice thing. It gives you good edge here. Ooh. See how I can get a crisp edge right there? That's lovely. What a convenient thing.
Gives you a little edge to work with.
It does. Okay, points in the bonus category. So weird. Just coming back and getting some of this little hair kind of worked out here. Can't wait till we start putting the loose abstract flowers on her. She's a nice painting today. Mm-hmm. A little blackened. We'll rinse out a bit. Rinse out a bit. Well, that's just lovely. Not too mushy. Wrings out fairly well. And it's got a nice short length out from the ferrule, which keeps it under control. I like a short length out from a ferrule. Longer it gets, the more stuff it's got going on there. I don't want that much stuff going on. I'm going to bring a little more blue out here. This is rather lovely. Come back over to the other side and mix some nice pops of blue in. And again, I do like that I can go right up to the edge of the face there. That's a nice thing. That's a very nice feature. So, who could you check? You could check Jackson's Art Supply in the UK because they ship internationally. I don't know that King's Framing and Art has it, but they have a lot of stuff, so you could check that in Canada. They might have that in. And a lot of those companies ship internationally. We have trouble getting the stuff out of the United States to other countries, but for some reason they can get it into us really easily. So go figure. I've rinsed out, and I'm going to come back into my cad red and my brown. You know, like you do. And come right here and start to work in a little bit of that blended red. Should be quite exciting. Gonna brush that out almost like a splatter. Little sploot. Yeah, we're not changing steps yet. We're still going. We're gonna finish up the hair on this step. Not the flowers, but you know, the rest of it might be nice. Come here along this edge here. You know, and I can even come into the face a little bit because I know I'm going to be there in a minute. Little peek of it there. Give me a little peek right there. That's a nice little peek. Let's rinse out, and then our next part will be the bright yellow. Oh no! Grammar Chicks 1979 is like, I keep getting interrupted. I have to try the video. It's up against later. And Steph wants to know how many hoots is this one. I'm hoping with the traceable 2 hoots. But you guys know that I have the rating system on my website. So if you ever feel like I significantly got a hoot rating wrong, you're actually allowed to go and change my hoot level. I thought that that was like a good way to make sure that, you know, my judging your experience at home, if ever I just misjudge it, you guys can come back and warn other painters coming through. I'm adding a little more cad yellow to this mix this time. And go ahead and kind of lighten this up through here. I'm letting some of the other stuff still show through because I want it to be interesting and light and fun, but I don't want such a dark value. Kind of dry brushing through here and almost a scumble, and this does that very well. Again, you could use a round. What brand of paint do you prefer? Madeline, I have a really cool blog on my website, Acrylic Paint, the complete list. And in it, I put the brands that I like. I have acrylic paint qualities I like. And I try to make sure that I recommend brands that have those qualities. But there's more than one brand that has good paint qualities to it. So, and there's just different things about, you know, every paint. I'm adding a little more yellow ochre here. Like some paints have, you know, lower drag on the brush, or they're thirsty, or they need more water to blend down. I'm going to get into my black here as I come down, and you can see that gets it a little bit darker as I go.
Charity is loving your hair as much as she is loving this painting.
Thank you. I've been wanting to do this for a minute. And I just was like, I just spent yesterday doing it. It was just, I'm not sure it was a useful use of my time.
But it was fun.
I took a day. I took a mental health day and kind of hung with my mom and did my hair and got my nails caught up and all those things. Okay, I think we're good. I think we're doing really good.
Adrian, I think, is just loves your nails as well.
Oh, yeah. Aren't those great? I'm matchy-matchy. Matchy. I love how I am at my nail salon. No, they never did. We never did find out what the missing video was that I saw that I didn't know what it was. It was so frustrating. I mean, it was like 3 weeks of my life looking. I just go in there with pictures and I'm like, you do this. They're like, sure. It's not like that isn't from Instagram and probably done by some master nail professional. They're really good natured about it, though.
They're like, sit down, we'll do it anyway.
They're pretty nice to me about it. Did we throw up a step?
Not yet. You ready?
I think I'm ready for a step.
All right, we are there.
So I'm going to come here and I'm going to switch to my Acryl Filbert. I like a filbert. Do you guys like a filbert? I like a filbert. And I'm going to come in and put some of these little kind of abstracted flowers. I'm going to actually pop these with a little bit of cad red and cad yellow. And I'm going to just make little implied dots. So I'm taking my cad red, had yellow. I got a little more red on that dot, so I'm just making considered dots. These sort of imply, I don't know, petals. A little more yellow on here. A little more red, just try to vary it up. Oh, that's looking really nice, doesn't it? It's coming out white. What's the difference between moving white and titanium white? Is moving white a typo? There's mixing white. I'm going to say that you meant mixing white. Mixing white is like a zinc. It's transparent and not as opaque as titanium white. Doesn't have as strong of a tinting strength. So what's good about that is sometimes you want to lighten a red but not make the red pink. So zinc or mixing white can be great. Now some mixing whites are just zinc, and some mixing whites are half and half of zinc and titanium white, and that seems to be brand by brand from paint companies. Make a bigger little spot there. I think if you can have some mixing white or zinc white in your art box, it's a good idea. Truly do. All right, I'm going to add a little more yellow here. I'm going to come up here and just add a bit of that right there, up in that corner. Get a little white. Sometimes a little more yellow. Just using the shape of the brush to create these sort of interesting shapes. Aren't they nice? I like them.
Yeah, they really are.
What brush is best for small details? I think a liner. I like monogram liners and script liners and liners in the size 0 and 1 and 2. Round ones. And also sometimes there's detail filberts. Simply Simmons has a good economical run of detail brushes. Princeton has some good detail brushes in their Princeton Select or Velvet Touch line as well. Kind of make a little shape right there, moving it in. Add a little balance there. That's looking pretty good, guys. Get a little more yellow on that one. I'm pulling that out there. It does not work well. I am enjoying.
I am as well.
And creating a little flower shape there. Just sort of go through about it. It's not too intense because, like, again, it's very loose and expressive, so you don't have to be this is coming out. You guys are going to get such good paintings out of this, aren't you? You're going to do amazing. A little bit right there. Now, if you're painting very economical paint, some of these layering techniques can be frustrating because your paint is not that pigmented. So what I want you to do is take a deep breath. And remember that you can dry and do a second layer to deepen the pigment. You can use a lighter color underneath to reveal the color. So you have a way to get there. You're not stuck. You don't have to upgrade. You don't have to paint outside of your budget. You just need to understand your paint and the ways to work around its particular challenges. And every paint has a particular challenge. Like Golden has a challenge. Sennelier has a challenge. There's no paint that doesn't have some challenge to the artist. There's no perfect paint or perfect artist, which is wonderful for all of us. I think that's good news. I think it's
no
very
one thing
important
that
good
does
news.
everything perfectly.
Yeah, it just...
They all have strengths and weaknesses.
They really do. I'm adding a little of my brown red mixed here as I come down, just trying to make a more muted side here. Smaller dot, just trying to open those up. The thing about digital painting as a design process that I'm liking, guys, however you do it, it doesn't really matter, is that you can change your mind, layer, revert, go back and tweak little, like, where do I want little spots of paint until you specifically are happy. So it's a good way. It's something, you know, references are wonderful. Not saying they're not, they are. I'm going to go over that with a darker color. Add a little sploot there. Put a layer here. Maybe one there. All right, I think we're good there. Let's call it a step. I think she's doing quite lovely, my
You need
friends.
to dry it, or is it okay?
We're going to be working in the face, same brush, still with the Isabay Isacryl, so I think she's okay. We're going to start putting in the face.
There you go.
So now I'm going to lose some of my center lines, and that's okay for me because I know how to put them back, and I'm going to show you how to do that because right now I want to get just a basis of the skin color. And the skin color is going to be super easy. It's yellow ochre. Either you can do cad red or quin magenta, either one. Either one will do it. And I want it to be more yellow ochre than the red I mix into it. So I get that basic skin color. And then I'm going to come and just work the white into my brush. See this? It's quite light and it's a little bit yellow. The important thing to understand is that we're not trying to do super realistic skin colors here, so we're okay. I'm going to just get this first bit on. And then I'm going to come back and set my face. I just want that lighter layer on. And then I can come back and adjust anything I want. Now, a nice thing that I can do is I have my burnt sienna and red, if you guys remember. I can kind of work this back a little bit so that there's some blending. Just while I have the chance. I'm going to do 2 layers, so you've got a couple opportunities. Don't feel too much pressure. I'm going to run a light highlight here. And then again, at the front of the shoulder. That's going to really do a lot of the heavy lifting for the chest and neck. Thicken that highlight here. And then as I come back, right, I can get back into my shaded colors. Right, I've got a little cad yellow and a cad red over here. See how that creates the values? And then I'll just come back here. Just work my brush into this little paint over here because it's all kind of weirdly, believe it or not, going to be skin tones. Let me get back into the black. And then this shadow is going to come forward a little bit. We have more to do, but these are just the things that I want to get done in this beginning layer. Let's call this a step. Okay. I'm going to take my #1 monogram liner and I'm going to kind of use it to reset my center line. And this is for you guys visually. You can dry your canvas and redo your chalk line. Okay. But if I have my chin here, so there we go, right? You guys do chalk. I can paint out my lines really easily. It's not going to bother me, but it could bother you. Going to come in between and set my nose right here, and I'm going to set my lips right there, halfway between the nose and the chin. That gives me lots of room for my mouth. See how that is? It's just lots of room for my mouth. Now, here's a weird superpower trick. I'm going to go ahead and get my black. You could use a Posca pen at this stage too, doing something similar. Putting in that black line there. This is actually not my final black line. I'm going to want a little bit of distance. Okay, well, I'll have to... Yeah, I can tilt it up. All right, we'll get that going here. I come under. Uh-oh, I had a drop, water drop. So what I'm doing, and you can do this with your Posca, is I'm creating these dark lines. Now they're going to be like, you know how I've been talking about grisaille in my step-by-step? Well, it's a little bit like that in that it's going to hold your features as you're painting. Come up a little bit. Okay. Now the nose goes up like that. I may need to move my
That's really nice.
lashes back some, and that's okay. How do I move my lashes back? I just go get a little bit of skin tone and I go, move over, you. See?
Oh, yeah.
That's not a stress at this stage. It's just me just setting my features in. Now, here is the little down divot of your lip. This side is going to be shorter than this side. I'm not fighting at all. To get this in. Okay. Faces feel hard. I think that they're more of an emotional obstacle than a technique obstacle. Because once you understand a couple things about their placement, you know, you're good. You could reset the traceable here and use that again if this particular technique is feeling overwhelming. Now I'm going to dry this thoroughly because I don't want these layers to lift on me. I want to be able to see them as I paint.
All right. It's just a little bit of drying. I really love this one. This is one of the I love when she does the girls' faces. think that these turn out really nice. She's done quite a few of them. So if you go to our website at theartsherpa.com, and you can just search for many of the girls that she's done. Some of my favorites.
I feel like I'm getting better and better at it as time goes by. It's really weird. Like, I think that teaching and painting self, those two selves are merging more and more and more.
You ready for a stepper?
Yeah, I think so. And a mutie.
Oh, mute you. Step here. Have you get a sip. Have your sip, and then I'll sip. I'll mute and sip when you're done.
Sip.
One more sip. Give one more sip. You know, we can multi-sip. That's okay. That's okay.
It's okay.
Now we shall step on.
We shall move on with our steps. Okay. I think I'm going to get into my round brush. My D again. You guys could maybe use this round again if you needed it. Okay. Oh, thank you. I'm going to get my D brush a little bit wet. You get your round brush wet depending on what you're using. I'm going to go ahead and get into my black again a little bit. And very lightly work this hairline.
Okay.
Everything is good, good. I'm just pulling this hairline down. A little bit of my cad red and my burnt sienna again. Just wanted to make sure that that hair felt like the hair and was pretty seamless. I'm going to get this brush. This is my number 4 round. Simply Simmons. It's a synthetic filament. Back into my... Oh. It was dirty. That's okay though. I'm going to take my yellow ochre and a little cad red. More yellow ochre. It's over by the white. Lots of white. Get a nice little bit of skin tone mixed up. And you can see the second coat is much more covering than the initial. Come over the top in the forehead. Now, if I want to darken my skin tone, I can just come over to my black and brown mix and blend wet into wet. Right? And come up the side of the nose. What?
Did you? I don't think you mentioned, but you have a ton of videos on skin tones too.
I have so many videos on skin tones.
And hairstyles.
And hairstyles.
So if you wanted to modify this to...
Please do.
Any variation that would make you feel... better, then we have lots of ways to do that.
What your art should reflect you.
Right.
And images and ideas and reflections of you that you feel wonderful about.
Right.
Whatever that is. And I am never offended if you make adjustments to the painting to do that. Right. Ever. It's all fine.
It's okay to, put yourself into your painting.
So this was black and brown over here, and I just get over here into the mix, and you can see it kind of is slightly darker.
Or not. You could
the left half, the left of the face.
So you could also not put yourself in the painting and be like, no, I want to paint Martians. I only like green skin.
That's also okay. We're Star Trek here. It's all fine.
It's all good. We don't mind.
It's all fine.
Romulan, Vulcan. It's the same. We'll paint with you.
You do you. I am not here to do that for you. So I'm lightening the skin tone as I come over on this side. And you'll see that it's starting to really pull up the shape of the face pretty easily. The chin will be a little bit lighter. You can lighten up at the nose a bit. Come up with that lighter tone. See, it just really starts to pull features out super fast. Super fast. Forehead is generally lighter. If you've ever had to contour your face, you got this skill. You're just doing it for her.
This is in you.
This is already in you. I'm lifting and kind of doing a blending technique with my brush by like, you know, being irregular with it. And I will come back with just, you know, a little more like over here, she's got a little more yellow, and we can come back with a little more yellow. There's nothing wrong with that. Coming under here. Because again, we weren't doing like a super realistic person. That wasn't our goal. I can come down to the yellow and red here and kind of work this little eye a bit. Yellow and red here, and little dry brush over that way. But there's nothing wrong with the red and brown. Back into the lid. Doesn't that go really fast? All right, let's call that a step, because that was a lot to do if you've never seen it done before.
All right, we can do that.
But I promise you, it's not a talent skill. It's just a skill.
Yep.
It's just a practice skill. You can get here. It's just understanding these things about the face. So good advice happening on the thing. And somebody asked about painting on glass. I think Karen's right about the GAC 100, but what I'll tell you is if you go to the Golden Artist Paint Colors website, they have 9 Golden Artist Color gels rated 100 to 900. Each of them is for a different thing, and I believe they make something specifically for glass that adheres to glass. The other company that makes products that adhere to glass, like Gangbusters, is a company called PBO, P-E-B-E-O. And they have fantastic stuff, just like forever stuff for glass. There's some products out there specifically for that. All right, let's keep going. We're going to get back into our skin tone. I'm going to stay on my number 4 round for a little bit. I'm going to get a little yellow in here so I can kind of make sure that that's a nice little jawline back into the skin. I might get a little red in there. Maybe a little more red and yellow. Come over to my black a little bit. A little bit to my brown and red, and I just haven't rinsed out my brush, if you guys are noticing. A little of the red and brown, and I haven't rinsed out my brush. Under the jaw, blending down, blending wet into wet. Back into my shadow color. And just this interesting sort of streak of some browns. These are like almost like brush strokes, right? And then maybe I'll get a little yellow in here. And it can even have a hint of blue to it. A little bit of sort of abstracted paint there, if that makes sense. So these are sort of like colors coming down that front. I rather like it. It's sort of my favorite. It works for me, and I enjoy that very much. Come into some black. I'm wiping my brush off on a paper towel, so I'm offloading pigment, but I'm not rinsing, if that makes sense. Blending very deep values here. I may come along here and trim the face a little bit. There we go. That's nice. Oh, good times, good times. Rinse out. What step are we on?
We're currently on step 10.
Okay. Let's call that a step. I don't want you guys to get overwhelmed in the project, and the thought construct of it can feel so overwhelming. So let's call it a step. We break it up into little tiny bites. It's like how you eat a whale, one little bite at a time. Don't eat whales, but don't eat whales.
Don't eat whales.
Back when people ate
metaphoric whale.
Metaphoric whale. Don't eat actual whales.
Okay. It's a thought whale.
It's a thought whale. Oh my goodness. So I'm going to get a little of my Doc's purple, and I'm going to mix it into my skin tone. It's kind of fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
Come up the cheek side. So I took more of the skin color, the darker skin color, and I've come down, and I'm going to blend out, leaving around the chin, which will be lighter. A little up here. The forehead is kind of interesting. A little bit right there. I probably didn't need to use as many colors as I did, but then I had so much fun doing it. I was like, I've done it already, so what are you going to do? Brought some black down there. Getting into my lighter skin tone. Lightly dry brushing here. I'm not taking the shadow away, really, right? Back into that skin tone. I'm just kind of mixing and blending little halftones. A little highlight on that nostril. A little bit up here. And we'll rinse out. Get a little bit more of my skin tone, which is the cad red and yellow ochre with white. It's pretty simplistic little skin tone. A little more biased to the yellow ochre. Get that back up into the purple up here. Makes such a fabulous shadow skin tone, by the way, on light skin tones. Actually, purple is great for making shadows in everybody's skin tones. Now I may come here in a minute and add a little bit of a corner there. Paint some stuff with my detail brush. I'm just trying to get some basic work in. So lots and lots of white. A little cad yellow, yellow ochre. I might even at this point get even a little cad into it. touch with my edge here. Sometimes you can like tip blend on a brush. You just do little light work. A little bit of a highlight skin tone there. And also on that one nostril. Hint there. Brush into some yellow. Does a nice blend. Brush into some yellow. Does a legitimately nice blend here. So taking my skin tone and getting a little yellow on it, it's sort of fun. I want the cheek here to be lighter. Brushing everything, blending, using the brush to sort of blend in. A little more yellow. Set that chin a little bit, right? Rinse out. Now, I'm going to take just a smidge, oh my goodness, of that quinacridone and mix it in. Very lightly. Might even mix it over into that yellow a bit. Try to get this little pinked blush going.
Yeah.
What you see me doing between is I'm wiping my brush off on a paper towel so that the pigment's on it, but it's not such a large amount of pigment as to... I think I got too much on there, so I'm going to go back into my skin tone. I'm going to reset the nose. I wanted it pink, but not so pink that, you know... Get a little ultramarine in there even. Just a little yellow ochre and white. All right, let's call that a step. Now for the next, I am definitely going to need small brushes. I'm going to be detail working in. It's going to be in my liner. It's going to be in that kind of space, right? So
Yeah.
I think that I will just bite the bullet and do my number one monogram liner. I'm going to mix my Cad Red and my quinacridone magenta. and a little bit of my Doc's purple. Come over and do my top lip. Not bad.
Not bad at all.
Right. I'm going to come here and I've got my Cad Red and my Quin Magenta, and I'm going to add a little yellow ochre and a smidge of white. Set this bottom lip. So the top lip is darker than the bottom. It has its highest apex right under where the divot of the nose is, right? I'm going to go ahead and get my Quin Magenta and not my Quin Magenta, my Doc's purple and my skin tone here. Getting kind of a nice dark color. Get into the black a little bit. Kind of define those nostrils just some. Create a dark line between those lips. And create a nice highlight at the top of the nose and a little bit at that nostril there. And go ahead and get a little bit of my shadow color here with the purple. Cast a little bit of a shadow under the nose. Not too terrible, not too hard. Go ahead and get just a little bit of white into that Cad Red, Quin Magenta, and a little yellow ochre mix. Just there at the thickest part of the lip, we'll kind of lighten that up. Get a little lighter version there and we'll come up above. It's subtle, but it's nice. Or it should be subtle. Now I'm going to put this aside for just a second, and I think I'm going to use, this is my smallest hog brush. This is my number 4. You want a brush smaller than your number 4 round. Just something that will give you a little more control. Coming over here and get a little bit of my Cad Red and yellow ochre. And come on the top of the lip and top of the lid. Just across. You know, I might go over to this sort of Quin Magenta mix that I had over here. Dust up just a little on that far side. I'm going to get into my purple here and a little highlight. Maybe just a little more highlight there. I'm just working that out. I think a little more Quinn ochre white. Right there down that center of the lid, and then I can get into my brown here. A little brown and black. Shade that back kind of there. Soft blending in. You guys have it. You want to just sort of have a highlight in that center of that lid, right? And then your color, maybe a little more Quinn magenta. Might even dry brush a little bit of this pink here. A little bit. I think it could be softer though. When I want to soften something, I can just go back to that original. A little bit right there. Right there. And then with a little bit of the Quinn in it over here. Kind of that as well again. You guys see that? All right. Now, I'm going to get back to my liner. Brown and black. And I'm going to work my left side first because that is the one that I have the most trouble having control over. So let's get it set.
Not too much zoom. Hold on. My camera controller said no. All right, there we go. It just wanted to zoom all the way in for some reason.
Just a little bit right there. I'm going to come across to the other side now. And I'm going to line this up to the inner corner of that eye. How are you guys liking doing this? I'm having a good time.
I think they really are too. This is really good zoom in on the eyes. Everybody really loves seeing the faces.
There we go. So isn't that nice? Right? So the trick is you want to have those on the nice same sort of eye line. You'll notice that I kind of like have like a little, gosh, just a touch of that divot there. Just a little bit. I might come in here and exaggerate just a smidge here just for the contrast. It's very fine though, so I'm careful with it. Now lashes. Whew, lashes, they're just the worst. They're really not, but it feels like it sometimes, doesn't it? I'm going to come out here and just so I'm going to show you a little trick. It's a little bit frustrating. I'm going to turn the canvas to the side, John. Okay. Yeah.
You go ahead and do that.
If you position your canvas to your strength, you can get a better lash.
Our cameras are mobile and movable and turnable and tiltable.
Right. So what throws people on lashes is sometimes I try to paint a rake, which is evenly spaced lines. And you want to have light lines that kind of almost are messy because lashes are messy. See how messy that is? It's very messy. I'm going to come over the other side and I'm going to turn it again to hurt my strength. You will have a stroke in your hand, everybody does, that's stronger one direction than another. On detail stuff like this, my advice is to just lean into that and always paint to your greater strength. All right. Okay, so see how that is? Anything that you want to adjust at this stage, you can adjust. You can make adjustments to the eyebrows if you want. Adjustments to highlights. Come and add a little more highlight to the nose. I think I'm going to add that highlight to that lip because I just like that. Maybe a little bit there on the eye. I feel like I could have done a brighter blue here, so I'm going to come back with my green. I knew I had my green out for a reason. Maybe a little green and blue and white. Oh, there it goes. Now it's popping. Let's add that bright turquoise. Touches places around the canvas. See how that brings some luminance? Just some crazy luminance. I'm just using that number 4. I'm just using a small brush that gives me control so I can paint in some details. Maybe a little bit here too on the far side, I think. Kind of painting around these objects softly. I'm kind of happy with her. I don't know I want to mess with her anymore.
Yeah.
See, Blentons, I really want to delve into portraits. Yeah. I hear they are really hard to do. Yes and no. I have heard a lot of epic portrait artists talk about their process. I've done some portraits, and I think this is kind of true. One, you've got to learn your basic face math so that you're putting features on a face kind of accurately. And then if you study caricature a little bit, because that's the study of what exaggeration of features represent a person. And portraiture is about painting people as they are, yes, but also as they see themselves and the people around them see them. It's an interesting thing. That's true of pet portraits. It's true of anything. So it's really more about capturing that emotional essence. And every single one of those skills in and of themselves is super learnable. Just super learnable. It's not at all a skill that you couldn't learn or take on. It's just that you have to commit the time. If you're thinking about taking on portraits, you need to give yourself 3 years of consistently working at it to get good at it. Like where you feel confident in it. And you have to be okay with like the first ones. Not because there's nothing that gets you better at it than looking at it and doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it.
Yep.
And so the biggest obstacle to people who do portraits is they start out, they don't like their start. They don't like their beginning. So they never find out what their end was going to look like.
Yeah.
Right? They give up way before the end. And what I'll say is if you just manage your expectations and you go, okay, years. I need to take some classes. I need to work on my face skills. I need to work on my caricature skills. I need to work on my gesture and you know, mixing all the different little things that come together. But these are all super learnable skills that you certainly can learn. Anyone can certainly learn. And you don't put the pressure of it's going to be right day one on yourself. If you just realize as you go, things will get better and you are okay with having portraits. My other big tip about portraits is do them secretly at first. Don't share them, because people have such self-judgmental internal dysmorphia, anxiety. You can do a portrait. That portrait can be perfectly fine, but you run into their anxiety. You run into their feeling about themselves. And it blows back on you and your portrait, and it can shake your confidence. And that's not what you want. Sometimes it's good to go back and just recreate portraits from the masters. Check out Singer Sargent. Just a fantastic portrait artist, just like amazing. And, you know, paint those faces, because those people aren't here to really object or be offended anymore. Yep. So sometimes going in and looking at art that has fallen out of copyright, that is a good portrait, you can learn those skills, you can work on it and not offend anybody before you take on people in your own life. That's my 2 cents. If you liked me answering questions like that, be sure and go by and put your question in at Ginger Cook Live, which is my mom's website, because on Monday, on her show, I'm going to join her again for another You Ask Ginger and Cinnamon questions, and we answer them randomly. And it's a just talking show, though. I hope you guys enjoyed this portrait class. I hope you enjoyed this portrait. I can't wait to see yours. I hope you had as much fun doing it as I had today. Remember, right now, this is all I'm going to say about this, is it can feel like the very future of everything is in the balance, and you could feel overwhelmed and you could feel under a lot of pressure, and I promise you cannot carry the weight of the world. It is not something you can carry, but we can feel pressure by it. So if you can take just a little time for self-care, for painting, to put it down for a minute and realize the sun is going to set and the sun is going to come up, you know, on you, and that you can walk away from the pressure in your life for a minute and just give yourself a break. I think that would be good for all of us, and I wish that for you. Just a minute to breathe. Be good to yourself. Be good to each other, and I want to see you at an easel really soon. Bye-bye.
Not that one. I did the wrong graphic. Did you know that
You
again?
did. I don't even know if I'm out
We're
yet.
still out here just talking to people.
We're still here just talking. How are you guys doing? You know, I'm on Thursday. You should come paint a really fun, easy one hoot wine glass.
Okay, so now you can say
super
bye.
fun.
I have the right one. Right.
You ready?
Now we can say bye.
All right. Bye-bye.